What's up, Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People Podcast and a celebratory 500th episode here. Oh my goodness.
Woo! We did it. We
Every-
weren't trying to, but we did it on accident.
I feel like that's like my work dog. I always tell the passengers that when I'm screening at the airport, they're like, your dog's so energetic. I was like, he has no idea where he's going, but he'll get there first. I promise you. That is this show in a nutshell.
That's us.
Well,
We just don't know when to give up.
Yeah.
nobody's told us we can't anymore in a very aggressive fashion. So, yeah. Welcome to episode 500 of the Purple People Podcast. This is Crazy Train. I said the name of the song, Crazy Chain. This was a ripoff of Ozzy Osbourne, obviously. I wanted to find something cool with Heineke because I kind of wanted to like pay homage because I like that kid. As we have here in the chat from Jonathan, this was episode 500. Thielen also got his career 500 reception, which is cool.
See,
didn't think about that.
We planned that. Adam and I planned that years ago when we first started the podcast. We're like, you know what? There's this receiver that's going to be undrafted. The Vikings are going to sign. And if we start it exactly right now, we will hit 500 episodes when he hits 500.
I was giggling because Chris Carter was like, congratulations on your 500th. And like, Thielen has no chance of catching Chris Carter.
I don't remember what's Carter at.
That's over 1,000,
Like
I believe.
over 1,000.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So,
500 is nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, especially with his story. We've talked about it. The media's talked about it 500
No,
times.
isn't Moss like around 700?
I'd have to look. I remember seeing the graphic, but I didn't hold on to Moss's number. Obviously,
someone pull those up for us.
let's
Someone
see.
out there
I'll
in the
do
chat.
it right here. I'll be a good semi-producer of the show and do my job.
I know it's not too far away.
You know what? If we would have been planning ahead, which is not something we do here at the podcast, I could have pulled up one of the very first intros that we used for our 500th episode because I still have a whole folder full of shit from way back then.
Part of the TSAN network.
Yeah, let's not speak of that. That
So
wasn't
this
legal.
is interesting. Okay. Google's got to be better. Pro Football Reference. I'm going to click on this just to make sure. Let's see. I'll let you guys filibuster just a little bit while I get this in order because the Google results. Oh wow. Okay. Adam Thielen has a very, very good chance to pass Randy Moss. Like a very good chance.
So if Thielen's at 500, what's Randy at? 600?
Thielen is at 502. Randy Moss is at 587.
Whew, he could.
So if he plays the rest of this year healthy and the rest of next year healthy, there's no reason why he couldn't pass that. We still have 9 games left. That's the only reason I say that.
Do you think fans will be happy for him, or do you think they'll be mad that their hero is getting surpassed?
They've got to be happy for Thielen because he's the authentic homegrown. I mean, that's what I default to.
Right on. We forget that we're getting old, that Randy is like our generation's hero, and like we remember him fondly, and like I know
Randy wasn't even in Minnesota really that long in the scope of things.
I was just gonna say, we forget actually how short Randy Moss's time in Minnesota really was. What was it 5 years, 6 years before he got traded out?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was drafted in 98. Was it 04 that he was traded to the Raiders?
Yeah, that's right. The Raiders. I can't remember if the Tennessee stint came before or after the Patriots, and he was there for the Patriots' little
Raiders,
Raiders.
Pats, Titans.
and then back to the Vikings, and then a 49er. Just a weird stat about Randy Moss a lot of people don't think of. He's played in 2 Super Bowls. You don't realize it, but he has, and he lost both of them, which is really sad.
Well, when you play with Brady, I mean,
you're supposed to win.
Good way to do it.
Supposed to win. And they went with who was there? Was Kaepernick the quarterback that year? 12? Yeah, when they played the Ravens, the Hardball Bowl.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Sergio, thank you for sharing this. I was at Knott's Berry Farm out in Southern Cali with my daughter for her birthday. Happy birthday to your daughter. Saw a good amount of Viking fans. Nice. Saw a lot of Viking fans in the stands this weekend for this game, too. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was, but one of the Vikings was on the team's social media talking about how it kind of felt like a home game.
Yeah, the Commanders don't have a lot to be invested with the fan base there. Excuse me, the football team. Sorry, Wes.
Thank you.
He loves that. I am trying to be politically.
That name will be changed here soon when they get a new owner. There's absolutely no way they stick with
the
Commanders.
Washington Amazon Primes.
Washington Primers.
Yeah. Oh God.
Primer
Yeah.
55.
Let's talk about it. Vikings won 20-17. This was an ugly game for the most part.
Did
Vikings
you see
go down on the
RG3
first
says he wants to
drive.
try to outbid Bezos?
Yeah, I mean, I like the spirit of wanting to do that with the team who drafted you, but you're talking about one of the richest humans on the planet, first of all, and then the conglomerate of people that are like, I have a lot of money too. I would like to tie my name with you. He's not going to win that. There's
No.
way. Which makes me slightly happy because RG3 is kind of a douche to Kirk Cousins on the internet. So go do your shitty analysis out there. I don't know. I could go on for days. I just don't like him, so it makes me that much easier to not talk well about him. But yeah, I did see that. I like the spirit of it.
I know what else both of you guys like the spirit of. It was that bowling celebration.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
As soon as they did
Jordan
that,
Hicks, the wobbly pin.
I knew they were going to win the game as soon as they did that. I'm like, that is too much swag for this team to lose at that point. That was amazing. I'm so glad the NFL allows them to have some fun and do the group celebrations now.
It's another one of those things for me that's ironic and hypocritical, though. You can do that much for that long, which I hope they keep, but don't you take your helmet off on the field. Don't you do it.
Right.
I don't understand it, but I'm glad that they let them have fun. Especially, I don't know who started it recently in the last couple of years where the whole defense gets together, but I love that camaraderie part of it. It's really fun. Everyone
so the
on
Vikings
social
went
media
down in this game. They were down 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then they rallied back. They scored 10 points in 4 minutes. What is it with this team? And I won't say liking being behind, but, not folding when things got tough. Like in past years, the defense would have gone soft and the offense would have been struggling, and this would have been a loss again under previous regimes.
A lot of people on the internet are questioning still. They're like, well, where's your statement win? If you win,
it's not there yet.
It's not there yet. But if you win 6 in a row, that has to stand for
and
something.
It might not be next week if Case Keenum's at quarterback.
We can talk about that in a little bit. There might be some drama this weekend.
I will take it. I don't care.
I think it's a statement, though, like you said, last year this team, and I saw it on the graphic because everyone was going to talk about this game afterwards. Kirk Cousins was pumped up. He got the team to give you a like. You like that? We're going to talk about him shirtless with a bunch of chains on, which is unreal.
The best thing ever.
It is the best thing ever, and I love it. And I think the thing that's crazy is they said last year the Vikings were at the top of the league with the most losses with a score or less, with 8 last year, which is a lot. You've got to come in clutch, and he said that today on Pat McAfee. You guys can go watch that interview. It was really fun. He's like, yeah, last year it came down to the final player of the final series. And
I don't know if you guys are watching the Madden cast tonight. Kirk is going to be on there.
I definitely want to. I definitely want to if he's going to be on. I'm sure we'll get highlights tomorrow on YouTube, but it'd be fun to watch one in real time. Yeah, I think it's a testament to the team, though. If you win 6 in a row, that's good. And the best part, like I've said many times, and now I'm going to add a little icing on that little cupcake, is you got to win your division. Win 6 games, and you're in the playoffs for sure. You're going to host a home game, which is crazy. But also, win all your division games and stay undefeated at home. You have a real good chance of doing good things. The Vikings are undefeated at home.
With the Bears and the Packers each taking another loss.
Oof.
The Vikings are in prime position right now to grab a hold of this division and just not let go.
Sean Payton, the former New Orleans coach, is an analyst this year. I think he will be the Chargers head coach next year. Just my hunch. But he said the Vikings will win their division first of any team of this year. He said that yesterday. And I was blown away. I was like, I've never heard anyone have that confidence about this franchise. Not like that. And I was like, that's pretty sweet. And they are in a good position. Like you said, Adam, 4.5 games up on who's in second place? the
Bears, Packers. They have
I
the
don't
same
know.
record.
Oh, they're so bad. The Packers have lost 5 in a row. When's the last time that happened? Oof. A lot of drama out there. This is good that we are not in this position. Jonathan says Colts fired their coach today. Yeah, Frank Reich is out of there. In hindsight, getting rid of Carson Wentz was probably not a good idea, because now you have
It was fine.
the corpse of Matt Ryan, who's not playing, and then Sam Ellinger. Yeah,
I don't think Wentz would have saved a job.
No, I don't think that either, but I just don't think he's worse than those two.
I do think Wentz is worse than Matt Ryan.
Yes, makes you all the more thankful for Kirk Cousins, doesn't it?
All the shit they talk about that guy.
Because this week we got to see a guy that I think would beat out Carson Wentz. I don't see what would be a major improvement for Carson Wentz over Taylor Heineke at this moment. Maybe back when Wentz was with the Eagles and he was, doing his thing there. He had a nice streak going there for a while where he was playing MVP caliber football, but those years have passed.
And that Super Bowl really messed with him. Really did. Probably shook his confidence too much to repair. But this is a cool stat. Thomas Buse says the Vikings have a 98% chance to win the North, according to Vegas. I love that. That's great odds.
Anytime you get odds that high, the Vikings will find a way to screw it up.
Yep. And 2% milk is everywhere. Keep that in mind.
Uh-huh.
That's a good one.
What's funny is I read a lot on the Vikings.
You could drink
Reddit.
2% if you wanted.
The Vikings Reddit post, and there was an awesome comment about how someone was like, "Oh yeah, this looks like it's going to be our year, and I have so much faith in the team," and blah 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 blah. And the top comment was, "You can tell who the younger fans are."
Adam, that was a Billy Madison reference, correct?
No, that was Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh. Now I remember. I should have texted in the side chat. Now you guys can shame me for my terrible movie reference knowledge or lack thereof. Oh, Hawk. I was like, HOC. What you meant to say Kevin O'Connell? Yeah, TJ Hawkinson. Let's talk about it. We'll go through game balls and donkeys in a second, but
9 passes thrown his way and he caught every one of them.
Dude, he's a stud.
Second leading receiver on the team. 70 yards.
And you know what's cool? I heard today, and I don't remember where, because I watched a ton of stuff. I'm off today, so I was just absorbing as much Viking YouTube as I could from all the networks and stuff. He's already played Washington once this year. So he's like, I don't have to study their defense. I literally got with a coach, and I was like, I'm going to learn the playbook. And
Hawkinson played all but 6 snaps on offense.
So crazy.
For Minnesota.
That's so unheard of. Dude got here on Thursday. I mean, that's unheard of, but he's a dog, man. He's going to be a good part of the offense. I'm excited to see what happens. And Kirk, he was happy about it on the McAfee show today. He said,
but it's really starting to look like Hawkinson's arrival is going to mean the exit of CJ Ham.
It does. And I hadn't connected that prior to his signing or this game, that him coming in would kind of make CJ Ham expendable. But I think after this year, it probably does.
Charlotte, I didn't expect him to be playing either. Maybe get in there and block on some goal line stuff. I didn't know it's going to catch 8 or 9 passes for like 70-some yards. It's unreal.
Well, you saw Bears fans with their new acquisition, Chase Claypool, and the replays over and over about whining about pass interference, obvious pass interference, when we got referees spear tackling Vikings players.
See, that's a good tackle. That's the thing, Adam. You're 100% right. And it's weird because everywhere I look on outlets, they're like, oh, the safety ran into the referee. This is a WWE shoulder check in the middle of the ring. The referee pulled on the safety. And we have to put it up here. We could pick on some of the linemen because some of them, mostly Ed Ingram's not had the best rookie year. But yes, my donkey does go to the ref because get your stupid ass out of the way. That was clearly going to be an interception.
All you had to do was stop running the ref.
So unreal. And like, that's one of the things that needs to be reviewed. If I'm the Vikings, I send that up and say, hey, look, if a referee interferes with the play, you got to redo that. That is clear interference.
Okay. When something like that happens, why is it not just, we're going to replay the down? Like, why is it not?
100% my point. Yes, absolutely, dude. It's no different than a fan. When a fan runs on the field, if they hit a player, you replay the down.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Because he's wearing a ref uniform?
It doesn't happen too often, so it's not like this is well, it shouldn't happen ever, but it's not like it's something that's going to pop up a bunch. But when it does, I think it's fair to both teams to like, hey, we're just going to replay the down.
The other thing too about that is I'm not saying that because it wasn't a big chunk play, if it was smaller, that we would just let it pass because you should keep it equal and fair. But that was like a 49-yard touchdown pass. Yeah, and let's be real about the game.
There were three Vikings defenders there.
There's no way that wouldn't have been a pick or at least a pass defended, right? The thing that I'm trying to make a point for is we won by 3 points. If they don't get that touchdown and they don't, or if they at least walk away with a field goal, we win by a touchdown. That was a crucial, pivotal point of the game. That really irked me. But yes, the donkey goes to the ref. Get out of the way. What are you doing, man?
Whatever Kevin O'Connell has this team on, these are situations last 2 years, where the Vikings just implode and do not come back from. It's like we should be sitting here right now talking about that play and how the Vikings lost by a touchdown, and we're somehow not. Like, I don't know what's going on, but it does. This team has a fight to them where they've been able to overcome all these situations and being down in the middle of games and having, frankly, bad stretches of football in the middle of games, and then they'll come back in the fourth quarter when they.
Yeah, my donkey is definitely the interior offensive line. All three of them, they all had bad games. I get that, the center Bradbury got hurt early, and that wasn't good. But even Cleveland was missing his pulls and things like that, so it was not pretty. Kirk was getting pressured all day. Dalvin Cook couldn't get out of the backfield.
And that's a good testament too, Adam. It's a good point. That Ron Rivera is a defensive coach. We've seen him coach a team to the Super Bowl. Now, granted, his quarterback was unreal that year and the MVP in the league, but
how often do you see Kirk leave the game because he takes a hit?
Never.
Not ever. He's unusually durable.
How did you guys feel when Nick Mullins went in the game? Were you like, we're fucked?
I kept hope because I didn't
feel frustrated really that much at all.
For one thing,
if that were Mannion.
Oh God.
So I didn't even think about Mannion. I've completely divorced him from my memory. I immediately thought about Kellen Mond, and I'm like, I wonder how he's doing. And then I tried to remember what team he was on.
I've got one guy on Twitter who messages me because Kellen Mond did one good thing in a preseason game, and I tweeted about it. Mond went through his reads, and he hit a receiver like medium range for a first down, and I was like, that was a nice play. So I wrote Mond with a nice throw, Mond's doing some good things on this drive. And he just won't let go. It's always just Mond sucks. Mond sucks.
Okay, man. I'm glad that's affected your life that much.
As for Nick Mullins, it helped also that you seen Kirk was like standing on the sidelines, helmet in hand, where you're like, okay, it's going to be one play. I assumed he was just going to hand it off and it was going to be a run. He took
a WWE quality spear there.
Yeah.
He talked about that on McAfee
today. He got the win.
Funny.
He said he got the wind knocked straight out of him.
He got the wind knocked out of him. He said, I must have made a noise. He's like, I don't remember what it was, but I was groaning and complaining. And the D lineman walks by and goes, you're going to be all right. Which is hilarious, but.
Kind of like the spirit the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, hit on Logan Paul at Crown Jewel.
And apparently broke everything in Logan Paul's body.
It's funny you guys are talking about that. I recently went back and I can't believe I've done this. I'm not ashamed. It wasn't something that I thought I would be doing. It's always music I'm watching or some DIY shit. But I've watched probably 6 or 7 full-length Shawn Michaels old wrestling matches on YouTube lately, and it's the first thing that pops up on my algorithm now. So I blame you. I blame you both.
Did you know that Shawn Michaels is training Logan Paul?
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's pretty obvious to tell in the wrestling style because it's very, very Shawn Michaels what he does in the ring.
All right. I'll be paying attention more now. That's pretty cool.
For my donkey, we're jumping around. We're all over.
We the ones.
Yeah. For my donkey, you know what? I'm going to pick on Johnny Munt. I didn't think he had a very good game. There was a couple times where there was once where he ran into someone, another Vikings player, and he just looked like he was out of sorts. So I don't know if the competition from
He was not
TJ
very oozy.
Hawkinson, yeah, I don't know if the competition they brought in from TJ Hawkinson just got to him immediately. You would hope not, but boy, it wasn't a good game. You also could have picked on Adam Thielen, who had more drops than what we're used to.
He hadn't
seeing
had a
out of
drop
him.
all season until this game.
Yeah,
They kept talking about it last week. I was like, here it comes. Just like when the announcers were like, he hasn't missed a field goal in 37 attempts. I'm like, well, guess what he's about to do?
That's
It
why I
happens
liked every time that the Vikings tried a field goal, they were like, he's been iffy on field goals. It's like, yes.
he's
Yeah,
gonna make it.
Yep. Well, we've went backwards completely on this. If that's our donkeys, who would you like to give a game ball to, fellas?
I think you got to go Harrison Smith or Eric Kendricks would be my vote. Kendricks is just good. Like, we've always known he's good, but boy, he's really shining.
Kendricks paired with Hicks is unbelievable.
It's so
Yeah.
good. I'm so glad you said that, Adam. I love the acquisition of Jordan Hicks so much. That dude plays with a chip on his shoulder, and
you could have went with Hicks,
love it.
Hicks or Smith or the other Smith.
Yeah, I'm going with Daniil Hunter, actually.
I know we should have traded him, right? For a third. Isn't that what Twitter was saying?
Like a sixth.
Oh, I love it when people eat crow. He had
that one announcer was definitely very pro Washington during the game.
Oh yeah, good job, Jonathan. That's a good one. A. Caleb Evans came in. He's such a fun follow on Twitter. I said it a couple weeks ago. He is all in, chips all in on this team. He's so happy to be a Viking.
I love it.
This morning I had an article come out over on the Viking Age with my top 10 takeaways, and I gave my opinion on Caleb Evans coming into the game, along with several other things. So check that out if you get an opportunity. I was actually impressed because I don't like to go look at comments because a lot of times comments on articles are always so negative.
Mm-hmm.
But this time I clicked and it was mostly positive, and I was like, wow, people actually like this thing. All right.
That'll happen when you're 7-1.
No, positive about the article, not the Vikings.
Oh, that's good.
Because a lot of times people are like, this writer doesn't know, poop.
And you should be like, I don't know poop, but I do know a little bit about the Vikings. Here are my thoughts.
Right.
I'm giving my game ball, and Adam, I hope you love me for this because I don't give the big boys up front enough love. Christian Darrisaw is having himself a mother effing season. Still no sacks.
He really is.
He is unbelievable. Him and Brian O'Neill, they got the outside covered. You're pretty good there. But I sent it to Kyle between a message of just the two of us earlier. I didn't know what you were up to. I didn't want to wake you up if you were sleeping because.
Oh, I always fade in and out of sleep all day.
I sent it to Kyle because we were just BSing about life and everything else. And I was like, oh my God, look at this stat. And it's not even a Vikings page on Twitter. It's Pro Football Focus. And they're like, hey, if you guys didn't know, Christian Darrisaw is that guy. And I was like, is he really not giving up a sack this year? Unbelievable.
Brian O'Neill restructures his contract, converts some money over to bonuses. Now, of course, that brings speculation all over the place. If the Vikings are trying to get a guy like OBJ or Sue.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think that with so much money being needed coming up to cover like Hawkinson and everything, that they better get some money to roll over.
It was so cool.
Also,
speaking of Hawkinson, giving game balls away. I love that he got one, and I've never seen that kid. I've seen him a couple times over the years, but I've never seen him cheesing that hard.
Oh, wow. Was he grinning?
Oh, he was so happy. That makes me happy. It warms my heart.
Welcome can tell
to 7-1.
He is excited to be a Minnesota Viking. Just imagine coming from Detroit and that whole culture and that dumpster fire they've got going on down there to everything for the Vikings right now. I feel like we're going to jinx ourselves by saying it out loud, but like everything is going right for this team this year.
I didn't expect it to be this fast of a turnaround, but I did believe once you buy into Kevin O'Connell and you see, okay, do I feel like there's authenticity here? How's the general manager? But it just proves, and this is a good point, because we saw some negative stuff. I saw some negative stuff on Twitter this weekend about Mike Zimmer. I didn't like that because I just think it's in poor
Why?
taste. People are stupid. I don't know.
Bad timing for that.
It's
too.
horrible timing. And it's not a good look for you as a person to talk shit about him in any way. But for how the bottom kind of fell out between him and Spielman and why they were fired, they did leave some talent on this team. Like, don't get it twisted. We didn't just nail the draft and every person we drafted is starting and amazing now. They have some great players here.
The new GM absolutely could have blown everything up and started over. He saw these pieces and said, we can build around this and not do a full reset and be competitive in the meantime.
It's wild. I love their train of thought. I just feel like they're operating in such a different way, but I love the positivity and the inclusivity of what they do with the team, because you can tell, like last year, yeah, they'd be pumped. They won some games, whatever. But this team, like, they just gradually keep getting more like fun.
Oh, and Cliff, I looked at my TV and I said, who the hell is Tonga?
I said that too, Adam. No, you're right, Smith. That's what I like about this squad, and that's how you can tell it's different this season. They're having fun. Like the chemistry, it reminds me of 09. Like, remember when Brett Favre was doing the
pants on the ground?
Pants on the ground, turning his hat sideways.
Slapping people's ass super hard.
All
like,
that shit.
Stings,
like,
doesn't it?
like the shit that they're doing with Kirk and like him wearing the chains and doing the dancing and everything and all that shit. Like, these guys have some chemistry and they're having fun, and that makes them dangerous.
Well, as stupid as it sounds, it probably has nothing to do with how he plays on the field. It's got to be more of the coaching and how
Kirk opened the game 9 for 9 on his passes. So you got that reliable Kirk. And then, as I wrote in my article on the Viking Age, you get that new kind of Kirk that's got a little bit of confidence and swagger and is willing to throw it around. And you saw that chance that he took at the end zone with Justin Jefferson that a lot of fans really hated.
Nah,
I don't mind that shot.
That I was told. We had talked about acceptable interceptions. Every now and then it's okay to throw one. And in that instance, I was okay with them taking that shot. You turned the ball over. It didn't matter. It was going into the halftime anyway. Like, I'm okay with that.
But yeah, we are going to see more of those two sides of Kirk as he gains more confidence and more familiarity with his receivers. And we are going to see more of the, of course, really confident, really accurate Kirk Cousins to open a game to get things going. And we've seen that now a couple weeks from Kirk this year, where he just opened games on fire, finding his rhythm. And that seems to really work for him.
Yeah, it felt like last year the team didn't start out scoring as quickly. Now, there have been lulls in the second and third quarter for this team this year, but I remember last year specifically us saying they just start a game out with a 3-and-out, and you're like, Jesus, here we go again. But they're at least scripting some stuff to start where you start with points, which is always a good
And
thing.
there was no running game to be found anywhere.
It's so funny you said that, dude. I was just looking at the defensive stats, and I'm comparing Washington to Minnesota, and I'm looking for tackles for loss. 13 for the Commanders. Jesus. Dalvin Cook has 17 attempts, 47 yards.
How was Kirk only sacked twice? It felt like he was running for his life.
He had pressure in his face all
He
day
was
long.
hit that whole game. That was a tough, gritty performance from Kirk because he got hit and banged around, and the fact that he stuck with it the whole game, I like that from Kirk. You can't say he's not tough. You know that?
True.
The rushing was terrible yesterday. 56 yards as a team. Alexander Madison gets 2 attempts, gets 1 yard. That's an easy paycheck that day.
And those weren't even like goal line yard rushes.
It's crazy too. Like, I'm glad that Dalvin Cook's been more involved in the game. He made a great catch for a receiving touchdown, and I'm glad that he's. Yeah, it was awesome. But I want to see him rush a little better. But let's give credit. I was trying to say this earlier. A Ron Rivera-led team is going to have a great defense. That's what he's known for. That's kind of like when Zimmer was here for the most part. You know, the defense was always the backbone. That front seven is unreal. And there were some familiar faces. We were talking about Adam Thielen earlier. Kyle Fuller played for the Bears a lot, and he's covered Adam Thielen a lot. So I'm not surprised that he had sticky coverage there because they've played each other a bunch in the past, but yeah, credit to the football team and their front seven. Their
defense is no joke.
It's unreal, and it's the pressure was there all day. And I don't feel like, I mean, I didn't pay attention to this particularly every play. I don't feel like they blitzed a lot. I think it's just natural pressure because these guys are awesome. And think about this. Chase Young didn't play yesterday. Pretty good defense. So shout out to Washington, but we'll run through a couple noteworthy stats. Already hit the rushing. Kirk Cousins threw a lot yesterday, 22 of 40, 265, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Don't get pissed off about the interception. You throw a 50-50 ball at the end of the half to Jefferson, you got to be okay with that.
Like I said, I don't care.
You got to be
I'm okay. I'm okay with it. You took a shot. It didn't work. Maybe next time it probably will.
Adam alluded to this. I don't know how. Kirk was only sacked twice. Taylor Heineke sacked 3 times, which is great. We already mentioned the rushing. Jefferson had another 100 receiving yard game. He found the end zone for the first time since week 1. He's only got 2 on the year, which is nuts, but he's at the top of the league in rushing or receiving yards, which is crazy. We mentioned TJ Hawkinson, second in receiving, 9 for 70, 9 for 9. 3 of 7, Thielen, 67 yards, along on 36.
3 of 7. Ugh.
That's tough. Defensively, a lot of names on here. A lot of people getting involved.
Jordan Hicks. That kid, he is a spitfire. He finds that football.
Him and Eric Kendricks led the way. 12 total tackles for Hicks, 9 total for Eric Kendricks.
Caleb Evans up on that list too.
6, yep. 4 by himself, 2 tackles for loss, a pass defended. Love that. There were 3 sacks on the day. DJ Wanham, still a force.
And there were a lot of fans that wanted to see the Vikings trade for a corner, and we still haven't seen what Booth has. But now we know that Evans can be plugged in and play some pretty solid football, so we don't have to worry as much.
Talking about interceptions, Harrison Smith had 1. He took it back 35 yards, which led to that great celebration. Kenny Wangwu, 1 kick return. Jalen Reagor, 2 punts returned for 11 yards. I saw somebody saying that on Twitter. It's like, can you run maybe north and south? Maybe try going forward next time. It's funny because we're not football players, but it is funny just in that little context.
You know what, man? He's trying to make a splash play when he
wants to score a touchdown so bad, and I want him to as well.
He's got limited opportunities, and the kid's trying. You know that?
I appreciate it. I'm glad we picked him up as a flyer. We'll see what happens. Greg Joseph, I think Cliff put this up earlier. Totally redeem yourself. Thank God. 2 of 2 on the field goals and extra points. Thank you. They had that weird thing at the end of the game where what happened with that? What was the reason they had to move back?
Oh, they lined up over the center and contacted him.
Yeah.
Oh, they had to retry. Yeah, I'm glad he didn't whip that. Greg Joseph won the game. We've seen close field goals come back to bite us in the ass.
My sister was here watching with that, and she's like, so they're taking those points off the board? I'm like, yeah.
It's wild.
Well, you hate to see the Vikings take the lead and then, take those points off the board for a fan that doesn't, a casual fan that's got to be a little confusing.
Mm-hmm. This is
funny.
Like,
now they can let that clock tick down and kick it, and then there'll only be like 20 seconds, if that, for Washington to do something.
It's just another point, not poo-pooing on the previous regime, but the clock management hasn't been brought up at all this year. Isn't that a cool thing to not have to talk about?
Yeah. I like
the timeouts that we have. I like that. Did Dantzler hurt himself with that illegal submarine tackle? I know he got flagged for that one for going low because you got to go straight up with the guy before you get to the runner. But I'm not sure. That's probably why Evans came in.
Yeah, I'm not sure when he got hurt, but I know he did.
He got a little banged up. But he's standing on the sideline.
I got a cat just headbutting me for attention.
That's my dog. I have to yell at him to stop. And my favorite stat every week, thick boy punting. 6 punts from Ryan Wright yesterday, 310 yards. Average of 51 inside the 20 twice, a long of 61. God, I love this punter.
At 1.6 possessions in a row were all punts. which
Yeah,
made
that was
for a kind of lull in the football game that wasn't really necessary.
so I can't watch the entire game because of my schedule, especially these 1:00 games. So I'll get to watch maybe the first quarter or the second, and then I'll have to do the updates on ESPN.
But at least you got NFL Plus where you can go back and watch it.
Ugh. Anytime I get to talk shit about that, I'm going to. That was the worst investment ever. You want it now? I've never been able to be like off my phone enough to not watch. We have to do a podcast. We try to do it 24 hours. So I can't fit that in usually. It was a terrible. Don't get NFL Plus. I'll get started on a rant. Oh, it's so bad. I try to watch it on those third-party sites. Sometimes they're amazing, and I can watch for 3 hours uninterrupted. But yesterday, it was just not working. I was trying a couple of places, but I remember showing one of my coworkers just like it says scoring plays or like the play-by-play of each series, and it was touchdown, punt, 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 interception, punt, punt. And you're like, I feel like I'm watching the Panthers right now. This is so bad. They found a way again, though. I'm really excited. I don't know how this team's 7-1. You're so used to them blowing it, but it'll be interesting. We mentioned this earlier, so you guys can go into it a little further in depth. If you haven't heard, Josh Allen has an elbow injury, and we don't know how serious yet. The team, as in Buffalo, not us,
are hoping the answer is very serious.
Yeah, he's gotten really good at the football since his coming out party against us in 2018, where we were 17-point favorites.
And we all know that Stephon Diggs guy is pretty good.
Yeah, he's still pretty good at the football, too. Yeah, Josh Allen's got an elbow injury. I looked it up. I sent it to Kyle today. I was like, hey, this is interesting. And then, Adam, you sent it in our chat. Don't really know too much about it. It comes from overuse. Feels like Tommy John's-ish kind of stuff, but that's not what it is. Buffalo said that they will take a look tomorrow and see how serious it is. If it's anything more than mild, they probably should rest him for a week or two for soreness and tests. But that would be the most Minnesota thing ever. Case Keenum led Buffalo Bills with Stephon Diggs playing the Vikings Sunday. But the good news for everyone, this game did not get flexed, and it will happen at 1 p.m., which is good for Kirk Cousins. If you want to go down that road, that rabbit hole and road of, he can't win in prime time. Well, this is a 1:00 Eastern game, so we'll keep you updated with that on the Facebook page and everything, but something to look out for. Josh Allen might be a little banged up. They did lose to the Jets yesterday, which makes me very, very sad because I thought that would be a shoe-in victory, and it looks like that might be a tough game. So that's always
either
fun.
a good or a bad thing, depending on how you want to look at it. I mean, the one side of the coin is that, hey, Buffalo is human. They can get beat. They just got beat.
They got beat by the Colts earlier this year, too. Like, They are very human at times.
Right. The bad side coming into this game now is, now a very good team, especially if Josh Allen is there, is going to want to make a statement against the Minnesota Vikings. So it's gonna be difficult either way.
I believe Buffalo are 7.5-point favorites at this point,
and they should be. They should be. Like, I like this Vikings team quite a bit, but this is a game that I don't think any of us predicted that they were going to win.
No, Charlotte, Detroit beat Green Bay.
Yeah, I was waiting on somebody to chime in with that. No, the Detroit Lions won yesterday because they beat the Packers. Packers have lost 5 games in a row. They're 3-5, and it is the highlight of my year.
And I live in the area where it's like half Lions fans, half Packer fans. So that was, that kind of stuff does not go quiet around here.
I appreciate the correction, Sergio. You're right. They lost to the Jets in Miami. They've lost in division. Kansas City's the team who lost to the Colts. They lost to the Bills, and they lost to the Colts. So it's been a weird year. Yeah, it is a big accomplishment. And it's funny, too, because if you saw anything on Twitter or social media today, Dan Campbell, you think he'd be, like, pumped because they won, and it's, like, his 5th or 6th win in 2 years. And he's just like, I'm exhausted. That's what he said. He's like, I just want to go home and prop my feet up and have a beer. Like, that's it. I'm like, dude, you just beat Green Bay. Like, that's cool. He's like, yeah, this is a lot more than I thought. Oh, man. But, yeah, this is going to be a true test. If the Vikings somehow come out of this game with a W, people will take them seriously. I personally wouldn't bet on it, and it's not just because it's the Bills, and I think they're a better team, which I do. They're just due for a loss. 6 in a row is a hard thing to do. And this is one of the ones I had slated to win. I think Josh Allen is top 3 in the league as far as quarterback play. But
it's crazy that Minnesota's only lost at this point is to an undefeated team.
It's nuts. And somebody put it up here earlier. Let me find it real quick while I scroll and try to do 2 things at once. Sergio said the Vikings have the second best record. The top 2 records in football are NFC teams, which is gross because the NFC is terrible. But we'll take it. We will take it. Yeah, I don't remember where I heard this from today. I was watching a lot of stuff, as I said, but Buffalo is just a big play team. It feels like all or nothing. They traded for a rotational running back from the Colts, which was nice. But it just feels like every play that I see of them is like a bomb or a 30-yard gain somewhere. And I'm like, if you can contain that and just get field goals, it's winnable if your offense isn't completely dead.
The umbrella shell coverage. Minnesota's got that.
Bend don't break, man. Let's see if it works.
And then have, Kendricks and Hicks there in the middle, just patrolling everything.
I just hope they don't put somebody on an island with Diggs. I think he's too fast for Peterson, and I do not trust Cameron Dantzler to go man coverage one-on-one. That's no slight against him. Diggs is that guy. So
we're gonna stick
it'll be interesting
out there on him. Hey, welcome to the NFL, Booth. Go cover Stephon Diggs for us this week.
And another sort of revenge game, not really because he hasn't been there in a decade, but Leslie Frazier is the defensive coordinator for the Bills, and he's been doing a damn good job. The thing that scares me the most, not even Josh Allen, is that defensive front of Buffalo is no joke. They have got so many good players, and they added this guy, you might have heard of him before, Von Miller in the offseason. So,
yeah, that's
cool.
I worry about how the Vikings offensive line is going to hold up in this game. That's going to be the true test because they have enough weapons on offense, and when Kirk is playing well, They can put points up at any time. We've seen them do that. They need to be more consistent with it throughout the course of the game. But I'm less worried about that part of it. Like I said, it's can the offensive line hold up? And I actually think we've got a pretty good defense as well too. It's going to be a closer game than what we're thinking. I don't think we're going to be completely blown out by it.
No, it's like Washington, like the announcers kept saying on Sunday, this is Washington football, a low-scoring affair where they can stay in the game till the end.
Can I make the generic white guy announcer prediction? But I totally believe this to that. This is how you win the game. You run the ball. You put in all the blockers you can. Make your running back earn it. You have 2 good running backs. And you keep Josh Allen off the field. It's a recipe to win. This could be the quintessential – oh my God, I forgot they can run the ball game for the Vikings. That's what they should do. Mm-hmm. I fully believe that's the formula to get out a 20-17 win, just like you saw here, and get out of there alive and shock the entire world. I don't know.
What is up with the Rams? Are they that lost without their former offensive coordinator?
They lost so many people. I don't think OBJ's coming back. Von Miller's gone. Cam Akers is terrible.
Stafford is basically done.
His elbow has got to be just
his body,
hanging there at this point.
His body, he got beat up for all those years that he was in Detroit. And he had an excellent year last year, won the Super Bowl, and it's his body is done. He'll be retired after this season.
I think Rodgers is done. What do you guys think of? I don't like the body language I see over there.
I thought he was done heading into this season.
I don't think the Packers are going to try. Here's the thing, and I defend the guy because I like him more and more as his personality comes out.
But didn't Rodgers sign a multi-year deal?
He could always just retire. I mean, that's the thing. He could just.
Is he going to pull a Favre? Is he going to pull a Favre?
If he does, retire? You know what he should do? He should go, and when he comes back at the end, or when he come back, he'll go call Kyle Shanahan. They can do the revival down there, and he can go to San Francisco like he should have went in the draft. That would make all the sense in the world. And they'd be like, you can have Trey Lance. We don't want him anymore.
You know what?
I
think Rodgers is done with football. This is the last year that you will see him play. He's going to retire, and he's going to go off and do his hippie thing in a cabin in the woods somewhere, and he'll be perfectly happy. And you'll get him once a month on the Pat McAfee show.
But speaking of NFC North quarterbacks, you guys got to start respecting Justin Fields according to Adam Rank.
No, I don't. Fuck you, Adam Rank. Why don't you respect the Vikings and revisit that take you had where we were going to finish like 5-12? We'll start there first, douchebag. I will say
123
this.
passing yards from Fields. He didn't look like a pocket passer one bit, even though he had 3 passing touchdowns.
What did I say in that?
What, he rushed
message,
178 or something like that?
He did break the single game rushing record held by Michael Vick by a quarterback, which is cool. You can't discredit that part of it, but I said this in the chat yesterday, and I'd said it with smugness because I meant it to come off that way, not to my peers here, but I like my quarterback to be able to throw. I haven't seen anything from Justin Fields where I'm like, that was a prime Tom Brady throw. Oh my God, that was an Aaron Rodgers-esque throw.
And then in the division, there's also Jared Goff.
That poor guy. That poor guy. Ugh.
He's also here.
You see a guy like, from high school, you're just like, damn, he's had some bad luck. You got all the way to the Super Bowl. You had to play Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. You only score a field goal, and then it just roller coasters immediately down after that. I mean,
you end up in Detroit. Like, that's about as far down as you can go.
With Matt Patricia to start, which, and now poor Dan. Like, Dan Campbell seems like a fun guy, but they're not winning, so that's never fun. And then they trade away your tight end. They trade your tight end to the division rival. Okay.
But yet they have, 3 tight end touchdowns in this game against Green Bay?
Ooh, did they?
Did they?
Yeah.
Don't know.
Nice. Good for them. Yeah, I agree, Jonathan. They don't have any receivers. And what was funny was Packers management said they made aggressive attempts to get somebody, like, obviously not aggressive enough.
Claypool and Waller were the reports.
The Bears got him. Like, one of your division rivals got him. Like, what?
Well, they figured the Bears would have an earlier pick than the Packers.
I get what they want to do there, and I do respect it to a certain percentage of we're going to build through the draft. But when you go get Jordan Love and he just sits there for 3 years, that's kind of like what receiver in the last 3 years could you have gotten that is a stud right now? I don't know, but
is Sammy Watkins hurt over there, or what's the deal?
Everybody is. God, I think he went out a couple weeks ago. Watkins went out a couple weeks ago. Cobb's banged up. Watson's out.
Is he still like a decent receiver?
Sammy Watkins?
Yeah.
When
healthy?
Sure.
I'm not sure either.
No one knows. No one's seen him play in forever.
The only thing I can compare this to, and the only reason I know this information, is my younger brother loves the LA Chargers. And he was telling me he went to the game in Atlanta because it's pretty close to us. Chargers visited Atlanta yesterday and won. And he's like, dude, I've never heard of these guys that Justin Herbert is throwing to. Everyone is hurt. He's like, this guy went to whatever Division II college, and he's our wide receiver 2 for the day. And I felt bad for him. I was like, I hope he doesn't drive all the way down there and see them lose, But yeah, the Packers, that's interesting. It's so weird to see them take such a fall. You expect them to be like, okay, we went from 13-3. Now we're 9-7, but or 9-8, but we still made the playoffs. Like, we had a little drop off. I didn't think it was going to be nearly this.
I was the only one to get a strike in survival because I took Buffalo.
Oh,
that was a good pick. Man, that's tough.
So now I've got my second strike.
I can't say anything. I can't believe I got eliminated that early this season. Very upset about that.
A lot of people did. There's only 6 of us left.
But yeah, that was the game. 20-17. Vikings beat the football team in Washington. On the way to Buffalo for a 1 p.m. Eastern game this weekend. We'll keep you updated on the Facebook page on the status of Josh Allen. If you don't want to check our Facebook page constantly because we might be a little behind, obviously we use Twitter and all that. You'll check. You'll get an alert. If I'm Buffalo, I probably don't say anything until Friday to give a competitive advantage, but we had mentioned earlier, there's an old familiar face there at the backup position. Haven't seen him play in a long time, so I don't know if he's still amazing like we thought, but that team is talented enough where, Kyle, you said in the chat, if he steps in, it should be smooth sailing. The only thing that's good for us is Buffalo doesn't really run the ball, and I don't understand why. They still don't really run the ball. I mean, they traded for a running back, and they still don't really run the ball. But we'll see, because the offense is so Josh Allen-centric. Like, it's everything. if he's out, that certainly changes it very much. But I wouldn't sleep on a Case Keenum revenge game. I wouldn't. I don't predict the Vikings to win this game just because I think they're due for the loss and it's on the road and blah, blah, blah. It's a good team. But I'm going to watch because it's going to be interesting.
I'm not looking forward to it, but I am going to watch.
This is my Sunday to work, so I can't watch either way, but
That sucks.
maybe I will watch the replay if it's a close game or the Vikings
On NFL
win.
Plus?
On NFL Plus.
Nice. I'm glad someone's
If
enjoying that service.
If it wants to load, I do not enjoy that service. It is really shitty.
Jonathan says, may the football gods be gracious to us next week. Well, they're going to be gracious to us regardless. Now, if you are wanting a test to see how good this team is, for the next 4 games for the next month, you will find out at Buffalo, and then you have 3 home games. The Dallas Cowboys.
Win.
I wouldn't even. I'm not even penciling him for that. That defense is really good. I'm worried about these games coming
win.
up. November 24th, right before Thanksgiving or on Thanksgiving, the Patriots Thursday night game.
That could be. That'll be a tough one.
That's a good defense too. Are we gonna get Zappy?
The freaking Jets. The Jets are good, and they're not like right at 500. They're like 6-3. They're actually winning games. I'll tell you what.
Without Brees Hall too.
Brees Hall's good. No, he went down, right?
They're winning without Brees Hall.
Winning without him, they got Robinson. They got the running back from Jacksonville.
But I tell you what, they're going to put Sauce Gardner on Justin Jefferson.
Dude, I was just going to talk about that. That's the matchup.
That could be one of those games. I'm sorry, but Justin Jefferson could have another 14-yard performance coming up on that one. And if that happens, that's going to be a loss for Minnesota. But we shall see.
Thank you, Sergio. Yeah, the Thanksgiving game, that'll be at night. It'll be a short turnaround to a Thursday game. So I will get to watch that, thankfully, having that holiday off. So it's going to be an interesting month. If you want to find out how good this team is, if they make it out of here at 500 in the next 4 games, I will be pumped. They would be, at 9-3? They'd be moving right along. If they go any better than 2-2, I will be ecstatic. I think this is tough competition. That all the defenses we mentioned for all 4 of those teams are good. I don't really trust Zach Wilson. I think he's not very good, but they're winning. I don't trust
Dak and Zeke.
Yeah,
it's the defense, man. The defense is what scares me. It's not I'm not really scared of Zeke Elliott anymore. Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones, they don't scare me at all. It's Bill Belichick, for God's sake. He always finds a way,
and it's prime time. Game. That always scares me. Prime time Kirk.
Yeah, I would like to see him, though, if they do win that game. I'd like to see him up there with a bunch of chains on, chewing on a turkey leg. That would be really cool.
This is Kirko, so maybe he's going to be over the primetime Kirk fears.
All he's got to do is win like 2 primetime games, and people will finally shut up about that. I mean, I don't know how much more primetime it gets when you win a playoff game on the road. Like, I think that's the primo definition of primetime. But, I mean, they still have that narrative. Whatever.
Is Anthony Barr playing for Dallas?
Not really.
Rotationally? No. I've only seen him in a couple of times in passing. He's definitely not starting over Micah Parsons and Van Der Esch and all those guys. So, I don't know. It's weird seeing him in that. And then not having the same
he's kind of playing the same way that Kyle Rudolph is for Tampa.
Not at all.
Playing.
He got in the game, but he was a distraction.
Ugh. Yeah, same thing, Sergio. Fingers crossed we go 3-1. That would be amazing. Win those home games, you'd be in a great spot. But we'll keep you updated. Like we said, we'll do some plugging and get out of here. But we'll keep you updated on the status of Josh Allen, and then Buffalo game. Let's get ready. Vikings are 7-1. Last time they were 7-1. What did we do, guys?
Cried.
We cried at the end of the season. We cried hard. I'm ready to be hurt again. They are exceeding my expectations for sure.
This just means we'll be waiting longer on draft day.
That's true. That's a very good point. Which is hilarious you bring that up, because we're at like 80% of our recording storage. And I went back to see how far it goes. It's past, like, beyond before the 2020 draft and COVID. So we can probably delete a couple of those.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely do that next time. I've just been adding.
Yeah, I deleted just the ones off of StreamYard here. I did not delete, or I deleted just StreamYard, not YouTube. So I'm going to check both to see if it frees it up, because I did that for about 10 minutes and none of the storage moved. And I was like, that's not accurate. So I should probably get both of them, but I digress. Let's plug away. You guys should go to thevikingedge.com and you should find articles written by our own Adam Carlson, and you should comment them. And
my article this morning, the 7 biggest takeaways from the game against Washington. That article came out this morning, along with a holiday guide that's worth clicking through. See if you see something you like. Both are pretty good articles. Keep a look on the site, because I'll be handling a lot of the breaking news this week. If some important stuff happens, I'll probably be writing that up.
Very nice. I hope something does happen. That way you'll get lots and lots of clicks, Adam.
I'm hoping nothing happens so I can just sleep and watch TV.
Or that too. I hope it's the most boring week ever.
I just binge watched Blockbuster, and I got to say that show didn't do much for me.
Oh, that's disappointing. It's that the chick from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Melissa Fumero. I like her a lot.
Damn it. Well, I won't be watching that then. That's great. Adam just did a review on something he watched. We do that sometimes about horror movies. You should go check it out at MN Viking Zombie on his Twitch.
That's true. MN Viking Zombies, where you can find me for a lot of stuff. I do some stuff over on TikTok. No dancing, though. I'm not a dancer. Cat pictures over on Instagram. Twitter. I don't know how long I'm going to stay over there. I'm not paying for it. If they want me to pay for Twitter, that's not happening.
Fair point. I don't care to be verified. Everybody can make fun of my account and make parody accounts. I won't pay the $8 because I'm a cheapskate.
But considering what I do for a living, I probably should.
That's a good point. All these good points, Adam. Stop making good points.
But yeah, otherwise, that's all I do. Hit me up. We'll talk about wrestling or football or horror movies or really pretty much anything. We can rank Adam Sandler movies together.
There we go.
Going overboard is absolutely last, and that is not a negotiating point.
It's the first thing I got introduced to with him, and I was like, this is not good.
So bad.
I got introduced at the movie store, and I was like, this or Happy Gilmore? I don't really like golf. I'll watch this one. Was that an epic?
This one looks like it's got some chicks in it.
Yeah. That was an epic failure of a choice.
Yeah, bad.
Kyle West also does stuff. We can plug his stuff here.
You can check my website out and buy some photos. It's the holiday season, so you can get prints put on lots of different things.
I like Prince. What's your favorite Prince song?
Purple Rain would be my favorite Prince song.
Not Cream?
I was going to say the Webster's Hall acoustic version of Cream is so good.
There you go.
Not the Bat Dance?
Bat Dance was good too. I like it. I shamelessly I like that. You know what I love though? What got me into Prince? When Doves Cry. Whatever little drums.
That guitar work.
Oh, it's so good.
He's such an underrated guitarist.
He's an underrated musician. I'll nerd on that all day long. When Dave Grohl can't help but look like a 5-year-old at Christmas talking about his experience, you know that guy's good.
Right.
That's it. Yeah, I was just like, what? Prince is what? It's when you listen to Prince when you're younger and you have no idea what's going on. You're like, I don't know what this means, but I love every second of it. That was my experience with Prince. Very good.
Go buy West stuff.
Buy it here. You can buy Purple People Podcast merch as well. If you want to stalk him, I've encouraged stalking you every show.
I think our link is still pinned to the top of our Facebook. Yeah. I don't think we've changed that.
Hasn't moved last time I checked. There's West's information. I advocate stalking him every week. I should probably stop doing that, but not this week. Go stalk him. You could find me here. Much like Adam Carlson has his cat stuff, I have dog things, I have music things, and football things. Sometimes.
I got a cat right here.
I got a dog right here, just staring at me. It's very rude, you know. All right, we should probably wrap the show up.
Thank you to everyone who joined us in the chat. It's always so great. By the way, one last question for you guys. How did you feel when the Vikings replaced Blur's Song 2 with Let's Go Crazy by Prince for the touchdown celebration?
I like the homage.
They should always use Prince. He was a Vikings fan from the state of Minnesota.
But
And
his actual song for the Vikings was bad, though.
Yeah, I don't really remember that, so maybe that speaks volumes.
Keep forgetting
for
it.
Should I look it up on YouTube?
No.
We're done.
No. I'll tell you what. I will always. I'll die on this hill until something better happens. I'm gonna be biased to Prince because he's Minnesota, whatever, always. But that he's got the best Super Bowl halftime performance.
Oh, it's so good.
You play in the rain, and you're like, I love the documentary they had on. They're like, he's asking, "Hey, can it rain harder?" He's just a badass.
Yeah,
gotta love it.
I will admit, though, I'm a bit of a hypocrite when it comes to things. I would love to have a harder rock show, but a lot of the pop shows have been so good, too.
Yeah, when you can have Lady Gaga, Shawn Michaelsing herself down on a cable into stuff, I'm always down to watch that.
Like, Timberlake was so good.
I'm a big fan of Justin Timberlake.
And even, The Weeknd and stuff like that.
I forgot about that Mirror show. Adam, you're having all this nostalgia going on right now.
I don't know how I have a memory, to be honest.
Yeah.
Good job, buddy.
But yeah, thanks again for everyone who joined us. We'll be back next week to talk about that game against the Bills. Not sure how I'll feel about it, but we'll discuss it.
We'll be back after a Vikings victory next week. That's my bold prediction.
Oh, wow. Leaving it on that. All right. Stay classy, Minnesota.